Hello once again everyone. We are back with another killer concept. This is another one that was suggested by a commenter, so thank you very much for putting it in there. Jplays 9235. As always, if you guys have any ideas of characters, whack them in the comments, and like this has proven, I will get round to them and I will do them for you, just for fun. Now, he asked me if I could do one based around FNAF. This one did take me a while to figure out and think about, but eventually I did manage to come to a solution. It is not a perfect one of FNAF, it is more of inspired by FNAF. I hope that works for you, Jplays, but without further ado, let's get right on into it with the band. So, basic info as always at the very beginning. It is very difficult to give you for this one, as you will see when we get onto the ability, so do be prepared that it is very confusing, as their speed is determinate, their height across the board is average, their terror radius again is dependent, and along with their weapon is also dependent. Now you're probably thinking there isn't much information given there at all, and you're right. There isn't, because each one of the animatronics is different. Yes, you heard me right, animatronics. As the killer describes, it is the band. 4 different animatronics you can pick from. But without further ado, let's get into the ability called Bandmates. You are a spirit that is able to jump into 4 separate bodies: the violinist, the drummer, the brass, or the singer. As soon as you hit a survivor, you will be forced to switch from the animatronic you're controlling to a different one. This means that you can't pick the one that suits your playstyle the best, as it's very, very overpowered for you, and just use that one all the way. It is designed to make you jump from one to the other. Now you can jump between different animatronics as often as you want, as much as you want. And it has no time delay at all. You just instantly switch to it. Though, to activate it to use it, does take a few seconds to turn on, so please do be aware of that. Once you have hit the survivor, you also have a time penalty on that animatronic. So once you've hit the survivor, it'll take you a couple of seconds before the animatronic becomes active again and being able to be controlled. Though, there are some benefits around this. When an animatronic is not being used and it is in deactivated mode, it is still an object in the game. You can make choke points and guide people into them, so although when you harm someone and take them down a health state and that lot, if you blocked them in a room with one animatronic at one end and the other at the other, they can't get around those animatronics. Then you just make sure you switch to the one at the other end and down them. Easy as pie. Because as soon as you hit another survivor, all of them get reset by the one you were in. So say you just harmed someone in one, and you jump to another and you hit someone straight away, you can re-jump back into that one you were in just 2 seconds before. Easy peasy. Now, let's get down to each one of the animatronics, and each one of them has a little, how to put it, little ability with them to make them stand out from each other. The first one is the violinist. They're 4.6 meters speed, but on top of that they also have haste permanently. They are 32 meter terror radius, and their weapon is the bow for their violin. This character, as you can tell, is the speed buff of the one. This one can allow you to run around the map and get all the information you want in that lot. They will go for ages and they're incredibly fast, so you will catch up to your survivor. But the question is, will the speed be a problem or not for you? If it is and you prefer to go on the slower side, well, the drummer is the next one. It would be a great pick for you, as his movement speed is exactly the same as survivors, 4 meters per second. Now, you'd be thinking to yourself that why would you want to become the drummer now? That seems very pointless and, there's no reason for it in that long. And it has its benefits. We do have a terror radius of 24 meters, and your melee weapon is the big beater that he has for his drum. Now his signature ability is that although he is very, very slow, he destroys everything instantaneously. Walk up to a generator and you just whack it instantly, and it gets reduced down. You are an indestructible machine. A pallet gets dropped down in front of you, it does not stun you, it just shatters. A wall that's breakable, you don't need to play an animation, you walk into it and it breaks. Same with the pallets. Basically anything that can be broken is done instantly, and with a little bit extra. You damage a generator as a drummer and it is increased digression. I don't know about what decimal, I'll let you guys have a think about that and see what you guys think might be useful, but basically you will make the generator go down a lot quicker. The next one is a fun one, the brass. His terror radius is 32 meters, although he does only move at 4.4 meters per second. His weapon, surprisingly, is his arms. You'd question why the large terror radius was such a slow killer, and that's because of his ability. He's a brass player, and one of the instruments that the brass will have to play is a trombone. And as he's an animatronic, it means that his arms can elongate and shorten at will. Basically, this animatronic allows you to have greater reach and even hit people over a wall or a barrier. So say someone leapt over a window and you were right behind them, but you couldn't get them as they were climbing over the window. Just because they're on the other side of that window does not mean they are safe anymore. You can still deal a health state to them. This works the same as pallets. The last one, the singer. This one is a regular killer. They have 4.6 meters per second speed, and their weapon is a mic. Their special ability is that they're a singer, and they project their voice everywhere. The moment you pick the singer, the terror radius is everywhere on the map. The entire map is filled with their terror radius. Some could say this one is the sneakier one of them all. Others may not. But everyone knows the minute you switch on to the singer, because their terror radius is everywhere. So, at the same time it allows you to go anywhere and people don't know how close or far away from you they are. But at the same time, they know when you're playing that character, so they're probably more vigilant. So bonuses and decreases on the other end. Without further ado, the next stage is our perks. These ones are precarious, because I had to figure out a way how to get them to work with the actual lore of Five Nights at Freddy's. I kinda like them, I hope you guys do too. Perk 1. Shared Agony. For the more advanced players, this might not be useful to them, but to the newer players or the people that aren't as good, it can be indispensable. Whenever you miss an attack, all survivors are slowed as you recover. So whenever you miss an attack and you have to recover as you're killing that lot, for that entire period of that animation and that time that you are slowed, so are all the survivors. It's basically a way to say, hey, you missed them, that's fine, they're still just as far away from you as what they were before, so get going, champ. Perk 2 is an interesting one. It's called Gift Giver. It allows the killer to pick up the items that the survivors have, whether they have energy in them or whether they are completely drained. Now, depending on what you pick up depends on what ability you get added onto yourself. If you pick up a toolbox, you can gain haste for a short period of time. And by the way, these are activatable, so you can pick them up and activate these abilities whenever you want. Second one is a medkit, which reduces the next stun by half, basically allowing you to go through a lot easier. It could work with quite a few builds, this one. The map shows the aura of the survivors for 5 seconds. Like I said, you can activate these whenever you want, so you can pick up a map and say you're struggling to find anyone. Activate the map and you'll see everyone's auras. The key is quite simplistic. It's the same as what it would be for the survivors. It allows you to see where the hatch is, which is indispensable sometimes. And lastly, the flashlight, which I find is the most fun one of the lot. It allows you to blind all the survivors when breaking objects. You activate this ability while you have a flashlight, and it activates for a good 30 seconds. Anytime you break a pallet in those 30 seconds, or a door, or a generator, all survivors are blinded. I find this one makes survivors not want to bring items with them, but then again that makes them just as weak, so who knows. Last one is again another interesting one. It's called Soul Strength. Survivors will gain buffs upon completion of actions. Now this sounds like it would be a survivor perk, but the bonuses are that whatever they gain, you gain twice of. So once they complete a generator, they all gain a little bit of haste, but you gain twice as much haste. Anytime they heal someone, they gain a resistance point, basically meaning that they can survive one extra hit without any damage to their health state. Then you gain 2 resistance points, meaning you can survive a pallet being pulled down on you twice with no stun. Isn't that fun? And the last thing is, if they manage to create a totem, they gain aura sight for a short period of time, and then you gain it for twice as long. I haven't figured out how long I would want those to be, so feel free to discuss it in the comments. Last but not least, as I said in the last video, I'm now incorporating lore into these videos fully, making it so I'm not doing 2 separate videos, it is all together. So without further ado, let's get right into the lore for the spirit that controls the band. He was a young teenager working at a Chuck E. Cheese knockoff. You know, they used to have some here and there. It was unknown what it was, and at this point, lost to time. While he worked there, he watched all these kids having fun and enjoying themselves. He'd just become what one would consider a young adult, realizing that free time is diminishing while work time is increasing. He hated it. He despised watching those kids run around with their free time, wasting it on frivolous things. He could be doing so much more if he had that free time nowadays. Those kids were wasting what life they'd been given. And if they were wasting the life, who said they deserved it? But he was smart enough to know that he couldn't just grab kids. No, that would be too obvious. People would probably notice that. So he worked smarter and harder. He figured out that he could mess with the animatronics. He managed to put cameras behind their eyes so he could see the kids that caused the most trouble and were wasting the most of their time. He managed to keep pictures of them so we know which ones to go for. Eventually he got to the point where he managed to control the animatronics remotely. Each one with a different remote. Each one worked in a different way. And he managed to get these kids, troublemakers and the time wasters, and managed to get rid of them using the animatronics. What happened to their bodies is still unknown to most of the people in that world, and too horrifying to tell. Though, all we know is that their bodies were neither recognizable, and the majority of them were not recoverable either. Now, he never got found out knowing he was the one that tampered with them, because although he had the ability to control them, they all worked on their own systems, and he knew that. So when things were starting to, heat up, he took out the controlling chips, so he couldn't control them anymore, and there was no link to him other than his fingerprints all over them. But then again, his fingerprints were only over them just as much as any other worker that worked there, making sure that they were clean, tidy, and making sure that they were presentable to the audience. He got off without any incident. Though he did end up in a lock-up cell, trespassing in the old place. Kids were still wasting their time, wasting the precious time that he no longer had, and he thought it was still sickening. He wanted his toys back, so he could show these kids how not to waste time. But obviously breaking into an abandoned building can get you done for trespassing. While he was in the lock-up cell, brooding and contemplating what he had to do to get those animatronics back, he heard a voice calling to him from the dark corner of the room, telling him that it would be able to give him the ability to use those animatronics to get rid of people that were wasting their lives, wasting their time, and basically frittering their life away. A grin crept onto his face as he loathed the idea of people wasting time and was exhilarated that he had been chosen by some greater force to enact that upon the time wasters. He accepted, and next thing he knew, he was opening his eyes. His hands were mechanical. He recognized the body he was in. It was one of the bandmates that he used to fix, that he used to use. He saw people running round as the voice in his head said, "That person just runs around here all the time. They don't do anything for society, nor do they help anyone out. All they do is run, like time wasters running through a maze. You know what you need to do." And thus, his story in the realm begins. Thank you very much for watching this video on The Band. Once again, I would love to thank the commenter Jplays for giving us this idea. And if any of you guys have any ideas of killers you'd like me to do based off of any type of media, if I don't know it, I will tell you, and I will have to look it up. But I will still do my best to make a killer based on something for you. I have plenty of other ones coming up soon. Plenty more ideas. Some are based off of films and that I have myself. But yeah, if you liked the video, don't forget to hit the like button. It helps out greatly. And if you're enjoying what you're hearing and what you've seen before, hit the subscribe button, because I'm coming back. I'm coming back with a passion. And this Cerberus knows never to waste his time. Ow!